Let's talk to Lars van Dassen, Executive Director of the World Institute for Nuclear Security. It's an NGO based in Vienna, and you visited Zaporizhzhya, so we're very grateful for you joining us. Can we begin with your assessment of how dangerous the situation at the site is right now?
Thank you very much. Well, I can underline much of what has been said so far. It is a very, very dangerous situation. Nuclear power plants are not made to be a place where you display weapons, where you drive around with tanks, and where you store weapons. It can be that there is an intentional use of these weapons, but it can also be accidental. And it's not only the weapons that are inside the perimeters of the nuclear power plant. It is also shelling from outside that can then hit buildings and critical infrastructure. So this is extremely critical. Nuclear power plants are inherently built to produce electricity. They're full of safety features and structures that are meant to contain mishaps and incidents and accidents happening on the inside, but dealing with malevolent actions from the outside, that is not what really is foreseen in the entire makeups of these facilities. So this is very, very critical.
And Lars, if you were on that IAEA team going into the plant, what would you want to know? What are the things that you're looking for to offer the world some reassurance?
Well, I can say that my first concerns would go to those that are working there. They are holding a very, very thin defense line for not only Ukraine, but for the entire region, and in fact, actually for humanity, because there's so much with nuclear energy and production of energy that stands and falls with how things go in this context. So I would care about their well-being. Now, 14 inspectors cannot walk around and speak with 9,000 people working there and another 50,000 working in the adjacent town of Enerhodar. But still being able to be in contact with the Ukrainian workers at the power plant, I would see as absolutely of paramount importance, and that this can be done without interference by the Russian occupiers. And this is, of course, where we have to be very worried, and where there's already evidence or indications out there that the Russians are drilling the Ukrainians to say certain things, that they call upon the Russians to be there, etc., etc. So we have to be very careful in terms of what it is that is staged and what it is that we can take as reliable input from there.
And Lars, finally, I was mentioning Chernobyl. Lots of people are looking at this situation and referencing what happened in 1986. But is that a valid comparison? Is there a risk here that something as serious as Chernobyl could happen?
Well, there are actually two layers in that question. The first one is this a nuclear power plant as the Chernobyl nuclear power plant was it? And the answer is no. The Zaporizhzhya nuclear power plant, it has a containment of a core. It has a lot of safety features that makes an accident of the same kind as at Chernobyl virtually impossible. But again, here we don't really know, because it so much is related to malevolent intent and accidents that could happen. But one thing where I do think that we should worry about a parallel is actually right there in front of us, because what we do see is that for many things that the Russian occupiers have done, there is a pattern that what they do in one place, they will do again in another place, in terms of looting and destroying and killing and so forth. And the way that they left the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in April, there they looted and wrecked everything they could come across. They stole equipment and just destroyed immense amounts of critical infrastructure. If they want to do something different or are going to do something different when they come under pressure in Zaporizhzhya, then we are back to a situation that is more critical than it was at Chernobyl in April. And that's why it is critical that this visit by the IAEA can go through and maybe even lead to there being a permanent presence or returning presence.